Thank you very much for that warm welcome. It is, of course, a very great pleasure and honor to be speaking here this morning at Sustainable Brands Bangkok.
Thank you very much as well.
So what we'd like to do this morning is talk about purpose, authenticity, values, and customer experiences with soul, which is a framework that we've created to help organizations activate purpose through customer experience design. Now, Einstein famously once said that a new kind of thinking is needed if mankind is to survive and move towards higher levels. And this quote inspired the very well-known phrase, "We cannot solve problems with the same level of consciousness that created them." Now, this is something that is very easy to say, but actually it's very difficult to put into practice. And our book, Holonomics, Business Where People and Planet Matter, it both describes how we can achieve this expansion of consciousness and also how it can be applied in many different areas such as strategy, leadership, change management, innovation, and sustainability. It's a very powerful approach which we've been introducing to some of the largest organizations in Brazil. And last year, we had the very great honor when Sustainable Brands nominated Holonomics as one of their top 36 sustainability books. So we launched Holonomics in 2014, and since then, we've been developing our framework, Customer Experiences with Soul. And this really shows organizations how they can apply the Holonomics approach to the area of customer experience. Now, it's really interesting. The question of soul in business is a very profound one, but one that I'm very pleased to say that both individuals and organizations have been responding to very positively since we started introducing this theme last year. And soul, it's a very elusive concept to capture, describe, and define, but we can sense it, we can feel it, and we can intuit it. But it has to be authentic. It's not an additional quality that you somehow add on to an existing product or brand or service. Now, for me, it's really interesting when I look at a lot of conversations still around innovation, because there's still very much a focus on doing, but we see a lot less focus on reflecting on the great question of being. But when we combine sustainable innovation with a profound reflection on the question of being, then what we end up with is meaningful evolution. So in terms of the current climate and context that we find ourselves in today, customer expectations are changing rapidly. And this is very much to do with the fact that we now have access to businesses 24/7. And this means that the distinction between internal and external is no longer valid. So customers are looking for more alignment, more engagement, more connectivity, more openness, and more honesty. So this means that both you and everyone in the whole organization really has to live your brand. And the reason is that you are your customer experience. So you really have to live your mission and your values both internally and externally, and then really just allow your customers to decide what your brand is all about. So this afternoon, Maria and I, we're going to be running a workshop, and what we're going to be doing is introducing our tool that we call the Holonomic Circle. And it's this tool that allows organizations to explore, understand, define, and develop customer experiences with soul. And at the very heart of the Holonomic Circle is what we call the Trinity of Authenticity. And this is where we define authenticity as the maximum coherence between what a person says, what a person means, and what a person does. And of course, this definition and concept of authenticity also very much applies to teams, business units, divisions, business ecosystems, and whole networks as well.
And in the basis of this trinity, and as well in the basis of holonomics, we have the 5 universal human values of peace, truth, love, righteousness, and nonviolence. And for each of these 5 universal human values, we have a range of other values associated, like truth, honesty, wisdom, curiosity, integrity, love, dedication, sharing, caring, empathy. So this range of other values associated with the 5 universal human values are the activating how we act, how we should act in our daily lives. For example, we are doing a big project. We are participating in a project in one of the largest banks in Brazil. And we are talking and we are using these values to improve the dialogues, to improve the relationships between people inside the organization and with the clients, how to better define their strategy, how to relate with the environment. And so we are able to put in practice how we define sustainability. We define sustainability as the quality of our relationships. So one of our important relationships is with the environment, with the natural world, but as well with people, with others, with our clients, with our colleagues, and ultimately with ourselves. This is the beginning of a good quality of relationship. Another good example that we are working with is Votorantim. Votorantim is one of the largest industrial conglomerates in the world, and is a Brazilian company. They act in many sectors like cement, metals, steel, energy, pulp and paper, agriculture, and banking. It's a very huge. They have more than 47,000 employees, and they are present in 23 countries around the world. They invest in education in Brazil a lot, and they own one of the biggest private natural reserve in the world, and just in order to preserve the Atlantic forest. They were founded in 1918, so in 2018 they will celebrate 100 years. And last year, the president of the group decided to start a very huge project to discuss the next 100 years. And he put the question, what we have to do and what we have to change in order to go to the next 100 years. So this is a very big project of change management, and they defined 5 pillars to work and to prepare the organization for these next 100 years. And one of the pillars is holonomics. So it's very interesting because the project aims to change the consciousness of each employee and to improve the relationship between people inside the organization and outside the organization.
Yeah. Another example which comes from Brazil is the beauty salon Laces and Hair. And this is a picture of myself with the owner, Chris Dios. And she has also created her own line of products which use natural ingredients. For me, it's a really interesting case of customer experience because their approach to the customer experience design really fully embodies customer experiences with soul. So, for example, the way they design their beauty salons is very natural, as you can see with all this vegetation that they have there. So people feel very relaxed and they really feel at home. Now, the interesting thing is that they really focus on the care of people, of their customers' hair, not just in the salon, but also they also focus on what happens at home. So they actually teach their clients how to maintain their hair, and this really maintains the vitality of the hair. But for me, it was just so interesting talking to Chris, because her whole concept of beauty is very much focused on inner beauty. So the outer vitality of the hair reflects the quality of your inner beauty. And she really focuses on helping people develop their confidence and their self-esteem, because it's the inner beauty that shines through our outer beauty. Now, the interesting thing is that we're working with Laces and Hair because they currently have 4 units, and they wish to expand to 11 units throughout the whole of Brazil. But they want to do this slowly, and they want to do it mindfully, because the challenge is how to grow to 11 units, but still maintain this very special soul. And finally, another example is Capra Course. Maria and I have been working with Fritjof Capra on Capra Course, which is his online course based on his latest book, The Systems View of Life. And some of you may have had the opportunity to hear the Sustainable Brands webinar that I hosted with Fritjof, which was a few weeks ago. And Capra Course is wonderful because not only do people have the opportunity to take part in one of the 2 public editions that are run each year, we're now able to offer private editions to organizations who are really looking to develop a deeper understanding of the systems view of life and also how to really implement systemic solutions. And this is wonderful for me because the most enlightened organizations and companies today, they're shifting their business models from being life-destroying to life-enhancing. And so our concept of customer experiences with soul, it expands to include the regeneration of local ecologies and also the development and support of local communities. So these are 4 different examples of the way in which we're using our framework of customer experiences with soul to really help a range of people and organizations activate their purpose.
So in conclusion, we would like to leave to your companies, to your business, 4 key takeaways. The first one is that nowadays people do not just want to buy something, they want to believe in something. It's more meaningful, and we need to have a meaningful life more and more. And in order to do that, we have to think that the new business paradigm puts a huge emphasis on company culture. So we have to discuss the thing that is very important, is present in our life, is invisible, but is everywhere, that is culture. How you deal with it, and inside the organization. And we have to understand that the whole organization is responsible for delivering a customer experience with soul. Each person, personally, is the representation of this experience. And for ending, to look for authenticity in everything we do. This is really, really important. What we say, what we do, and what we mean must be coherent in order to have authenticity.
So really what we wanted to finish with is a much more visual explanation of what holonomics is all about. So this sphere, it represents the state of many organizations today. There are many different units, parts, departments, and often, and in this sphere, you can't really see the connections between the parts. This is often due to communication which doesn't flow. And often different parts of organizations, they have conflicting goals, they have conflicting targets. But when we introduce holonomics, when we introduce this expansion of consciousness, every single person in the organization starts to see the organization as a living, breathing system. They start to see their role that they play in a customer experience with soul. And so the organization, it manages to achieve its full potential. And at this stage, we can say that the organization has fully and authentically activated its purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you.